Hello my friends, this is Piero Giorgio, author of Survive the Economic Collapse, Woman on the Verge of Societal Breakdown, and soon other books. Look, I wanted to talk to you about Italy today. I'm in Stresa on Lake Lago Maggiore in North Italy. Here we're still in Piemonte. Across the mountain we're in Lombardia, and somewhere up this way on the north where it rains, as it always rains, we're in Switzerland. Anyway, I'm here to do some consulting. As you know, I do consulting to some people who try to implement the stuff I tell them in my book. And great people most of the time, actually all of the time. Anyways, I want to talk to you a bit Italy, because I don't know if you followed the suspense movie that was the Italian elections this year. Well, to make a long story short, let me tell you something first about the history of this place. Here, where you see on my finger, is Palazzo Borromeo, which is a beautiful, beautiful palace on this island of this lake. And in 1936, England, or Britain, France, and Italy had a conference there, and ended up with a pact, with an alliance, to fight Germany, Nazi Germany, if Germany would annex Austria. And in fact, Hitler and Germany were pissed off because actually they didn't, and they had to wait until Italy left that pact, because Anthony Eden of Britain lobbied against Italy because Italy had conquered Ethiopia, like England had not conquered any other African countries before. Anyway, and because of that, World War II happened. At least the way it happened. Now, in 1911, Italy also declared war on the Ottoman Empire to conquer Libya, what was Cyrenaica and Tripolitania, what is today Libya, and the Dodecanese Islands, the 12 islands in the Aegean Sea. And the victory of Italy against the Ottoman Empire in 1911 led, by opportunity, Serbia, Greece, and Bulgaria to attack and win a war against the Ottoman Empire in 1912 and also in 1913. And all these weakened the Ottoman Empire to the point where it was considered a prey by Britain, and that really impacted and was a reason for starting World War I, what would become World War I, the Great War, the disaster for the European people. Anyway, Italy sometimes is very important in the world, as these two examples showed. Italy is not a small country. It has economy that is about 10% of the European Union. This is not Greece. In terms of, Greece is a great country, I love it. But in terms of the economy weight in the European Union, Italy is important. And Italy is in a crisis. The economy is not doing well. A lot of the people here are starting to be poor. There is no, the state here is not the nanny state like it is in France or in other countries. Here you don't get money from the state if you don't have work or if you have nothing. So 30% of Italians start to have a problem of poverty, of not being able to feed themselves at the end of the month. There's a big unemployment. The government is not helping the people, not that I think that it should, by the way, but certainly it still costs too much, and a lot of the cost has been towards paying for the refugee invasion of Europe. And this is because Europe, the European Union, pushes Italy to that. So Italy 2 months ago, and I'm going to make a very long story very short, and please go and inform yourself, because I think it's important and it will have consequences that are important. The Italian people voted 2.5 months ago for essentially two parties, and there was high turnout in the election. 70% or 80% of the people went to vote, and they elected representatives to the chambers from essentially two parties which have differences, but agree at least on certainly one thing, that they don't want to have so much pressure from the European Union in terms of how Italy manages its finances. They want to be able to spend more money to help the economy and help the people. I'm not sure it's great, but certainly they have defiance against the European Union. The other element is that they, especially the Lega from the north, which is majority here in the north, they don't want any more of this massive immigration. And the other party, the Movimento 5 Stelle, for which I voted actually, as I have a dual citizenship. I also have an Italian citizenship, so I voted for them. Actually wants the European Union to pay for that immigration and not Italy, which I think is the weakest point they have in their program. But on the other hand, they have a high ecological platform, which I really like. So, you know, perfection is not of the world. And so these two parties eventually joined together to form a government, a coalition, an agreement. And it took 2 months to make that, because they are for example, the Lega is against all immigration, which I really like, but I don't really like their ecological and economical point of views. So, yeah. Anyway, the good thing is that they made an alliance, and they said, okay, we want to form a government, and they suggested a government to the president, which is officially the one who has to agree on the governments, and that's the only power he has. And at first, the president accepted, and then he said, no, this is way too against the European Union, so I want to put another government, and the president imposed a government of technicians, which are pro-EU and pro-migration and against everything the people voted for. So this was like a coup from the president for the European Union and against the Italian people. So that's unacceptable for Italian people. Now they're all united and angry at this, and angry at the European Union. So I think recognizing that, the president said, and also because he was fearing that he would be destituted, and if you want to spend money trying to figure out a lot of things, find out who this president is, Mattarella. Find out what he was doing in the 70s and who he was working for. You will see that he has an interesting pedigree in dealing with, in the context of the Strategia dell'Attenzione and the red terrorism that was financed by the CIA and these Italian secret services. Financed, infiltrated, organized. Very interesting times, the 70s in Italy. Italy was kind of the laboratory of what's happening right now. Anyway, check this out. It's too long to explain here, and I'm not a specialist, so I'll let you do the work, because I'm lazy. Anyways, so another interesting element of that, finally it's getting warm here. It's good. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. Raincoat away. Yeah, so what is interesting is that now, of course, Italy is back with the government that they wanted. And of course, they start to have interesting suggestions of laws which go towards what the people want. But what's really interesting is that Italy has basically an extremely pissed off people. People are poor, people want reforms, they want independence, they want sovereignty. And of course, Italy still with this government is not sovereign. And I'll give you two examples. First of all is that this whole debacle has shown that the European Union, which is ideological and economical dictatorship, let's put it this way, and it's controlled by more powerful people above. I'm not going to go into that now. It would be a long speech, but you can find out who controls the European Union. Here's a hint: it's the same owners that control the United States, and they control the European Union through the United States and the CIA and the National Security Agency. Anyway, NSA. And NATO. And that's the second thing, is that Italy is not sovereign because it has 100 foreign bases on its soil since World War II, and that has increased. And these bases basically put troops, nuclear weapons, airfields, naval bases, soldiers and equipment and logistics and communication centers of NATO in Italy. So Italy is not sovereign. It has an interesting army. It has people now start to understand that, but so long as it's part of NATO, it will never be independent. So it's time for Italy to leave. But we'll see about that. I don't think that's on the table yet. But you must follow what's happening in Italy, because you suddenly have a fairly homogenic European country whose almost everyone is pissed off at the European Union. Everyone understands that they can accept sacrifices if they leave the European Union, if they leave the euro, and if they have a common policy that makes sense. So this is a country that could spark the collapse of the European Union, which means the collapse of the European economy, which ripples through a ripple effect will collapse the whole world economy. So as for those of you who read my books, you see that we live in a very fragile economy worldwide, and that sparks that can tumble everything down can happen from the US, from Europe, from Asia, from wars, from epidemics, from many different ways which are really more and more unpredictable, but you can start to map the potential and you can start to map the trends. And Italy is one trend to follow. So with that, I leave you. I'm going to go on one of these islands to read some books and spend more time before I take the train back home. And I really encourage you to follow what's happening in Italy. It could be very interesting and very important in 2018 and 2019. And if you want to know more, you can read my books, of course. Take care. Ciao.